The fog rolled into Ravenwood like a phantom tide. It swallowed the town whole, a thick, chilling blanket muffling every sound. Street lamps pierced the gloom with weak yellow eyes, casting long, eerie shadows that danced and twisted like wraiths.
Ravenwood was a town steeped in secrets, its cobblestone streets whispering tales of forgotten times.
The old houses, with their gabled roofs and boarded-up windows, stood like watchful sentinels, guarding the mysteries within. The fog seemed to amplify the silence, making the town feel like a forgotten corner of the world.
Ravenwood's history was a tapestry woven with darkness and whispers of the supernatural. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead felt thin, where shadows held their breath, and the air crackled with unspoken stories.
The townsfolk, hardened by generations of chilling tales, rarely ventured out at night, preferring the company of their hearths and the comfort of locked doors. They knew that the fog brought more than just a chill to the air. It carried with it the weight of Ravenwood's haunted past.
The old cemetery, perched on a hill overlooking the town, was a stark reminder of Ravenwood's mortality. Twisted trees, their branches gnarled and skeletal, clawed at the sky as if trying to escape the confines of the graveyard.
The headstones, many cracked and worn smooth by time, bore the names of those lost to the fog and to Ravenwood's mysteries. Some whispered that on nights like this, the spirits of the departed walked among the living, their spectral forms indistinguishable from the swirling mist.
As the fog deepened, Ravenwood retreated further into itself, becoming a place of shadows and whispers, a town where the living and the dead seemed to coexist in an uneasy truce.
The only sound that dared to break the silence was the mournful cry of a distant owl, its eerie hoot echoing through the empty streets, a harbinger of the mysteries that the night held. Ravenwood, shrouded in its spectral cloak, awaited the dawn with bated breath, knowing that with the first light of day, the fog would lift and the town would once again become a place of normalcy, at least until the sun began its descent and the shadows lengthened once more. Eliza, a writer drawn to the macabre, found herself inexplicably captivated by Ravenwood. She had rented a rambling Victorian house on the edge of town, its gables and turrets reaching towards the perpetually gray sky like gnarled fingers. The house, with its creaking floorboards and musty scent of old books, seemed to hum with a life of its own, whispering tales of its former inhabitants.
This is the perfect setting for my next Gothic novel, a place where my imagination can run wild, fueled by the town's eerie atmosphere and my own fascination with the darkness that lies just beneath the surface of everyday life.
Her study, a dimly lit room with heavy velvet curtains that were always drawn, was her sanctuary. The air was thick with the scent of ink and old paper, and the only sounds were the rhythmic tapping of her typewriter keys and the occasional crackle of the fire in the hearth.
I filled the room with Gothic novels, their spines cracked and their pages yellowed with age, each one a portal to a world of mystery and suspense. As I write, I often pause to listen to the silence of the old house, imagining the stories that its walls hold captive.
Eliza's imagination was a powerful force, fueled by her fascination with the Gothic and the macabre. She saw stories in the shadows, heard whispers in the wind, and felt the presence of unseen forces in the stillness of the night. She was drawn to the darkness, not out of a morbid curiosity, but out of a desire to understand the hidden depths of the human psyche, the places where fear and fascination intertwined.
Ravenwood, with its chilling history and palpable sense of mystery, is both a muse and a mirror to my soul, a place where I can explore the darkest corners of my imagination without reservation.
As the days turned into weeks, Eliza found herself becoming more and more immersed in the world of her novel. The line between reality and fiction began to blur, and she often felt as if the characters she was writing about were more than just figments of her imagination. She began to see them in the shadows, hear their voices in the creaking of the old house, and feel their presence in the stillness of her study.
I, once a detached observer of the macabre, am now living and breathing it, my life becoming as Gothic and eerie as the stories I write.